In exactly 12 minutes, this ship is going to start sinking. And right now, you have absolutely no idea. This is you. And for the next 20 minutes, every decision you make decides whether you live or disappear into the ocean. You're standing on the top deck of a luxury cruise ship at 11:30 at night. The wind is warm. The ocean is black and endless in every direction. Behind you, music drifts up from the main ballroom 5 floors below. Glasses are clinking. Someone is laughing too loud at their own joke. The ship hums beneath your feet like a living thing. Steady, powerful, and completely unsinkable. At least that's what you told yourself when you booked this trip. You lean against the railing and look down at the water. It's a long way down. The ship cuts through the waves without effort, leaving a white trail of foam that disappears into the dark. You take a long, slow breath of salt air and tell yourself this is the best decision you ever made. It is not. Let's go back just a little. You're 3 days into a 7-day Mediterranean cruise. The ship beneath you is enormous, over 900 feet long, 16 decks tall, carrying nearly 4,000 passengers and crew. It is basically a floating city. There's a casino, 4 swimming pools, 2 theaters, and a restaurant that serves lobster at midnight. Great. You're on a ship with 20 restaurants, and in about 12 minutes, none of them are going to float. Your cabin is on deck 7, mid-ship. You paid extra for a balcony view. Tonight, after dinner and 2 glasses of wine, you slipped away from your group and came up here to clear your head. The sky above you is absolutely buried in stars. No city lights for hundreds of miles. Just you, the ocean, and the low vibration of 4 diesel engines pushing this steel giant through the water at 22 knots. You notice something, though. Just barely, just at the edge of your awareness. The ship has changed course. The stars have shifted slightly to the left. You can feel a new angle in the deck under your feet, barely noticeable, like standing on a floor where someone left a book under one corner of a rug. You write it off. Ships change course all the time. You pull out your phone to take a photo of the stars, and that's when you hear it. But here's the thing nobody realizes until it's too late. That sound? It's not the beginning of the disaster. It's the middle. The disaster started 2 minutes ago, 30 feet below the waterline. You just didn't know yet. It's not a bang. It's a groan. A deep, metallic shriek that you feel in your chest before your ears even process it. It rises from somewhere below the waterline and lasts about 3 seconds, then silence. Then every single alarm on the ship fires at once. The sound is overwhelming, high-pitched, layered, bouncing off every surface. Red emergency lights strobe along the deck railing. Your phone buzzes with a notification from the ship's app, but before you can read a single word, the deck lurches hard beneath you, and you grab the railing with both hands. The ship is slowing. Fast. You can feel it decelerating the way you feel a car braking at speed, that lurching forward push in your gut. Something has happened below. Something serious. Here's what you don't know yet. But what is happening right now in the belly of this ship? The navigator made a positioning error. The ship has struck a submerged reef at full speed, a shelf of rock sitting just 6 meters below the surface, not properly charted. The impact has torn a gash along the starboard hull, roughly 40 feet long, starting just aft of the engine room. Seawater is now pouring through that gash at a rate your brain cannot meaningfully picture. You need to move. Right now, the announcement system crackles. A voice comes through, calm, measured, practiced, in that specific trained way that somehow makes everything more terrifying. Attention all passengers. This is a general emergency. Please proceed to your muster stations with your life jackets. This is not a drill. Not a drill. Those 3 words do something physical to the air around you. You let go of the railing and start moving. Others are already streaming out of the upper deck bar. People still holding glasses, wearing confused half smiles, looking around like they're waiting for someone to laugh and tell them it's a bit. Nobody laughs. By the time you reach the stairwell door, the deck is already tilting. It's subtle at first. 3 degrees, maybe 4. Just enough to make the door feel wrong when you push it open. Inside the stairwell, the ship sounds completely different. The engines are gone. In their place, underneath the screaming alarms, there is something else. The sound of rushing water. But here's the part nobody in that stairwell understands yet. The ship isn't stabilizing. It's already past the point where the crew can stop it. Now, here's what you need to understand about how ships sink. because this knowledge is about to determine whether you survive the next 30 minutes. When a hull is breached, water doesn't flood the whole ship at once. It fills compartments. Modern ships are built with watertight bulkheads, sealed internal walls designed to contain flooding to one section. But those bulkheads have limits. A breach large enough, and water moves from compartment to compartment faster than any pump can manage. In your ship's case, the engine room flooded in under 4 minutes. When the engine room floods, two things happen. First, you lose propulsion. The ship becomes a 4,000-ton piece of dead metal. Second, and this is the one that's about to make everything worse, you lose power. The lights go out. You're on deck 9, halfway down the stairwell, when the ship goes completely dark, not dim, not flickering, gone. For 2 full seconds, there is nothing. Just alarms. Just the roar of water somewhere deep below, and 40 people in a stairwell not breathing. Then the emergency lighting kicks in. Weak, orange, just enough to see outlines. And what you see is not good. The stairwell is packed. People are shoving. Someone above you is screaming. A child is crying somewhere close. A man in a tuxedo, jacket still perfectly pressed, is pressed against the wall, repeating, "Oh God, oh God, oh God," in a low, steady voice, like he's forgotten he's saying it out loud. The ship tilts another degree. Everyone feels it. And that is the exact moment when calm ends and panic begins. People who were still and quiet 30 seconds ago are now pushing hard. The stairwell becomes a bottleneck. Someone falls. 2 people trip over them. The crowd surges forward anyway. You press yourself against the railing and move with the current of bodies. But you're thinking clearly enough to notice something that stops you cold. People are going down, back toward their cabins, toward deck 5, deck 4, deck 3, back for passports, laptops, jewelry, things that feel essential when your brain is firing on adrenaline and not logic. Here's the problem nobody realizes in this moment. Lower decks flood first. Those corridors become underwater tunnels within minutes. The passengers heading down right now are not heading to safety. They are heading toward water. 172 of them will not come back up. You stop. You turn around. You go up. Deck 12. The tilt is unmistakable now. You'd put it at 10 degrees, maybe 12. Enough that walking feels like hiking a slope. Uphill on the left, downhill on the right. Loose objects are sliding. A bar cart has gone over somewhere nearby, and the sound of breaking glass mixes into everything else. The ship itself is making sounds you have never heard a building make. A slow, grinding, settling moan, like steel giving up. You find your life jacket at the muster station. You remember noting its location on day 1, which felt like a waste of attention at the time, and now feels like the smartest thing you have ever done. You strap it on. It takes longer than it should. Your hands are shaking badly enough that you miss the first clip twice. Now, the lifeboat. And here is where things get genuinely, specifically bad. Because here is something the movies never show you. Lifeboats on a cruise ship aren't hanging freely off the side like in the movies. They're mounted in mechanical cradles called dovets. They swing outward. They lower boats to the water, and they work perfectly. When the ship is upright, when a ship is listing, tilting hard to one side, the lifeboats on the high side swing away from the hull. You cannot reach them. You cannot board them, and the boats on the low side get pressed against the hull. You cannot swing them out. At 10 degrees of tilt, you lose roughly half your lifeboat capacity. At 15 degrees, the situation becomes critical. The ship is currently at 14 degrees and climbing. You reach the lifeboat deck, and the scene hits you like a wall. Hundreds of people, screaming, shoving, crew members trying to hold a line and losing. Someone is on the floor and people are stepping around them. One lifeboat on the port side has been half deployed. It swings at a brutal angle, bow pointing toward the ocean at 45 degrees, completely useless. A disaster inside a disaster. You look to the starboard side, the high side. The davits are extended, but the gap between the boat and the deck is 6 feet of open air. People are jumping for it. Some make it. One doesn't. You don't look down. The ship groans beneath you, low, deep, like something internal is tearing. The deck tilts another full degree. A woman grabs your arm with both hands, says something urgent in a language you don't speak, and points at the water. You follow her gaze. The ocean is close, incredibly close, far closer than it should be. And it's cold. You have a decision, and you have maybe 90 seconds. Option 1, keep fighting for a lifeboat. But the list is worsening by the minute. The crowd is becoming dangerous, and the deployment window is almost certainly gone. Option 2, the water. You know something about hypothermia. You read it once, somewhere. The kind of fact that sticks in the back of your brain for no obvious reason. Until right now, when the reason becomes very obvious. Mediterranean water in late spring runs around 18 degrees Celsius. In water that temperature, you have roughly 30 minutes before your muscles stop responding to your brain. Maybe 40 if you stay calm and minimize movement. The life jacket keeps you up. The Coast Guard distress signal fires the moment the alarm triggers. They are already coming. You have to trust that. A life ring hangs on the railing 3 feet to your left. You grab it. You swing your leg over the railing. You look down at the water. It's black. It's loud. Deep below you, something in the hull gives way. A sound like 100 heavy doors slamming in sequence. Bulkheads failing. The ship shuddering around you like it's trying to hold itself together. It isn't going to. You look at the water. Then you look back at the ship. You already know which one is safer. You jump. The cold doesn't hit you. It detonates. Every nerve in your body fires at once. Your lungs lock completely. You go under. Dark, cold, roaring silence. And then the life jacket yanks you back up, and you break the surface, and the first breath you take is more scream than air. The cold is in your ears, in your teeth, behind your eyes. Hold on. You grip the life ring. You kick, away from the ship, hard. This matters more than almost anything right now. Ships create suction as they sink. The water rushing into that hull creates a pull, and that pull can take you down with it. You need distance. Even as the cold gnaws into your muscles and starts slowing your thoughts, you kick and kick and kick. 20 meters out, you stop and turn back. What you see will stay with you for the rest of your life. This ship, this 900-foot city of light and music and midnight lobster, is tilted at nearly 20 degrees, one end rising slowly out of the water, the other end descending into the black. Its lights are still flickering. Its alarms are still screaming into the empty sky. You can see figures on the deck. You can see lifeboats, some in the water, some still locked in their davits, going nowhere. You can see people in the water around you. Some are moving, some are not. You breathe, in through the nose, out through the mouth, slow and deliberate. You keep as still as possible. Movement burns body heat. Body heat is the only clock that matters right now. 22 minutes after you hit the water, you hear the helicopter, then a second one. Then, cutting through the dark from the south, the running lights of a Coast Guard vessel, searchlights sweeping across the surface in long, deliberate arcs. They reach you 7 minutes later. A crew member pulls you over the side by your life jacket. You can barely close your hands. Your jaw is shaking so hard, you've bitten the inside of your cheek and can taste blood, but can't feel it. Someone wraps a thermal blanket around your shoulders. Someone else is saying your name. How do they know your name? But the words aren't connecting to anything yet. You turn and look back at the ocean one more time. The ship is at nearly 40 degrees now, one end still rising, the other already gone below the surface. Slowly, terribly slowly. The alarms have finally stopped. The only sounds left are the helicopters, the engines, and the water. Of the 3,912 passengers and crew aboard, rescue operations will account for 3,740 before the sun comes up. 172 people went back to their cabins. You didn't. You went up when everyone else went down. You let go of the lifeboat when the lifeboat became a death trap. You got into the water before the ship's suction could take you with it. And you stayed calm just long enough, just barely long enough, for the cold not to win. None of that was luck. Every single one of those was a decision, made in 90-second windows, with incomplete information, in the dark, on a tilting ship, surrounded by 4,000 people making the wrong call. Most people only find out what decision they'd make when they're already making it. You just ran the simulation. So be honest with yourself, completely honest. At what moment in this story would you have made a different choice? The stairs? The lifeboat deck? The railing? And do you actually believe your version ends the same way?